This is the byproduct of recording a video at 3 in the morning. Today I'm going to be showing you what it took to install Demonize on my CBR 954RR. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of wires. But this video is living proof that you can do it because we did it at 1 in the morning. That's why I'm recording this right now, because there's absolutely no context or storyline in this video at all. When you record at 3 in the morning, nobody knows what's going on or what's being said anymore. Like, I don't remember any of the dialogue.
Toes is approaching DEFCON 6.
Boy.
Let me first give you a bit of context. Now let's talk about these Demonize real quick. When a lot of people hear Demonize, the normal assumption is, oh, you took your normal headlight assembly and you put halos in it. That's not what we did. This is actually, I have the original headlight assembly. It's right here. This is what originally was on the bike. The original eye is a bad bitch. Those are the originals, but what we installed was a full-on assembly. Everything was packaged really well. You know, everything was in bubble wrap and everything, and you know, they even gave you tools. Like, in case you didn't have Allen wrenches for some unknown reason, they gave you Allen wrenches to work on your bike.
It's nice. Like, they even included, dude, they even included hardware, the Yonggong tool set.
Yeah.
So in case you didn't have Allen keys, you're covered. Yonggong's got you covered.
Brochure of their other products, a wiring diagram, which we didn't look at until we had already installed the item. That's why I say any of you guys can do this, because we installed this whole thing. Granted, 2 people in the room knew what they were doing. One was a car mechanic, one was a bike mechanic, but that doesn't mean they knew what they were doing. That's not like they installed these before. So we were flying blind. We were just like teeing things into what we expected to work, and we were like, oh, that works there, because you know, that's just the way these things work. I had no idea what was going on.
Did somebody lose food? That was from lunch. I don't think there's any clips in it. Oh, wait. Ow. Oops. Oh, so the turn signal was holding it in.
Here's the way the system works. You got the assembly, and then you got these ballasts, which are kind of like boosters, you know, those little boxes that come with HID kits. And these plug into the wiring harness that the wiring harness plugs into the actual bike.
This is the wiring harness right over here. We ran it under this tank, and it's connected to the battery over here.
Then we plugged the wiring harness, we plugged it all up, and we plugged it into the headlight assembly.
That is you looking. Pokemon?
Pokemon? Money? Give me money.
Literally looks like a Pokemon.
When we would turn on the high beams, the only high beam that was triggering was the middle light. And we didn't know if that was the way it was designed, but we didn't really want that. We wanted all 3 to trigger. So we just took the middle ballast or booster or whatever, and we split it across. If you look there on this, there are 3 headlights here. You know, 1, 2, 3. This one was working, like this ballast, or the wiring for this middle headlight. If we moved it here, this one worked. If we moved it here, this one worked. But only one was wired to work, I guess, and we tried wiring it like 15 different ways. Granted, if we had looked at the wiring diagram, we might have fixed it and it wouldn't have taken us an extra hour. But 3 lights, only the middle one was triggering the high beam. So we just split the connector right here to these 2. We did that with one of the extra, we did it with some of the wiring from the old one. There was like a $25 like cheap HID kit on my bike when I bought it, and we just took the connector from that and split it into the others so it would be clean instead of like wiring it with like actual electrical tape or soldering it. No.
So it looks amazing. Look at the wire mess down here. Oh, God.
Hi.
Literally, though. It looks like it's puking it. Now, if I turn on those lights, you'll go blind. Oh, you're asleep. Such a dick.
Fucking dick.
Yep, who called my name?
10 in the morning. Toes went off to work. I crashed here. We didn't finish this until about 3:30 in the morning. You know, I didn't get to bed until like 4:08. Toes went to work, and I'm just leaving now. But let's talk more about that on the bike.
Well, okay. It's time to go home, baby. Woo! Lord. Man, is this thing loud. There's a couple things I want to talk about on the way home. One regarding the headlights, obviously, and then I also want to quickly mention the fairings. Bum, 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 bum. Get this bad girl out of here. So I know where I'm going now. A quick thing about these, the headlights and everything. So these are beautiful headlights, and when I was looking for headlights and, you know, like something I'd actually want to put on my motorcycle and spend money on, you know, there weren't that many options. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're all from the same Chinese supplier or factory, just rebranded under different names. But the one that seemed like it was the most reputable company, or one that had the most, I guess, merits, was this King Tech company. So I bought the product, and I gotta tell you, you know, these things are like 3 times brighter than like normal incandescent bulbs. They're beautiful. They look really, really good. And, you know, for nighttime riding, you know, that helps, and I'm looking forward to see what it brings. But I do need to mention something about the installation. Everything was labeled, and once we figured out exactly what we were looking at, because we did half of it without even looking at the instructions, because, you know, 2 people that were in the room actually knew what they were doing. You know, Toes, who knew what was going on, and then Eric, who's an automotive mechanic, but, you know, a big motorcycle guy. So he was helping me install this, and, you know, I'm sitting and watching basically, but everything was basically plug and play. The reason I say basically is because it wasn't basic until you really figured out what you were looking at. There's a lot of wires, and if you guys saw from the video, we had to, you know, wire tuck everything. The bike kind of looked like it was puking out wires. Like, there were a lot of wires. And that's not really a bad thing. It's just like, look at all this shit right here. Like, I'm just glad that doesn't interfere with my steering. These things retail for $600 if I'm not mistaken, if you wanted to get them for your 954. They also make them for, you know, a bunch of other bikes as well. You know, like Gixxers and other stuff like that. You just gotta look on their website. I'll put it in the description, obviously. But they got really nice products. You know, like, I will say, like, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be to install. I definitely think to do this installation right, you know, you probably want more than one person. And it's not even, you know, the other person needs to know what they're doing. It's just one more person to look at it just to double check your work. Because it's nice to have a second eyes, because even we wired things wrong a couple times. I mean, thankfully we didn't blow a fuse or anything, but, you know, it was nice to, you know, Eric, you know, so I looked at one of the things Eric did, and I was just like, wait, that don't look right, and he's like, oh, whoops. But once again, we were doing this at 1, 2 in the morning, so all together, you know, it probably took us about 4 hours. What we ended up doing, because we couldn't get all the high beams to work, and I think this was either A, because one of the ballasts, which is like the booster for the headlight, wasn't working, or the connection wasn't right, or whatever. But we just took the high beam from the middle, because that's the only one that turned on, and we teed that to the other one, so that way when you turn on the high beams, all 3 lights come on as high beams instead of just, you know, the middle one. So I don't know if that was the original design or whatever, but that's what we ended up doing to make it work. And the way that we teed it was we used you know, one of the connectors from the ballast that I had from the piece of shit HID kit from eBay that was on this bike when I bought it. You could just hardwire with some good old electric tape and whatnot, but either way, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and act like it was the easiest thing to install in the world, because it wasn't. You know, it took some time. But I will say, it wasn't nearly as difficult as I thought it would be. And, you know, if you bought this, you know, I think all in all it's a solid kit. I mean, I think that the wiring could have been done a little bit better, maybe a bit shorter, and, you know, just less mass. But all in all, man, it's a nice kit. And, you know, I really enjoy the look. I love them. You know, the demon eyes look fantastic. You know, I can't wait to go to car shows with this, and everyone's like, oh my god, what do you got on there? But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, hell, maybe you're even gonna pick up a set yourself. Obviously, I'll provide all the information for the company in the description below, so if you want to check them out, see if they got something for your bike, which I'm sure they do. Like, they got a bunch. the other thing to mention, I'm sure I mentioned it earlier, but really, dude, like, they included everything for you to install this. Like, even if you had no tools on hand, they gave you Allen keys and everything, man. You know, they gave you an instruction manual, had a wiring diagram and everything. We did basically the whole installation without looking at the instruction manual. That was just because we had someone who knew what they were doing looking at it. You know, like, once we looked at the instruction manual, we were like, oh, that's how that works. Like, you know, we felt so dumb because we didn't see it when we opened the box. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions on what else I should do to this bike, you know, like, I'm not looking to put a turbo or a supercharger on it right now. Hell, I'm still learning how to ride the bike. I'm talking about maybe some aesthetic things that might, you know, make it my own, so to speak. Even if they're little chrome pieces or, you know, a reservoir cover, which I'd like to get. But just let me know in the comments what you think I should do. With that, I will talk to you guys later. All of y'all, have a fantastic day. Oh, and follow at ZFG Co. Get ready for the launch in the middle of May.